Hello and welcome back to the Better Everyday podcast. Darren, it must be vest day.
Well, we are in the fall season. I think today's the first rainy day we've seen in a really long time. It felt like vest day.
What's funny is that when I put this on today, knowing we were going to be recording, my thought was, I haven't seen Darren in a vest in a long time. I should be fine.
I was very conflicted because I had a
short sleeve shirt
and
the vest.
And the vest.
Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, we look like we got dressed on purpose this morning, but we did not.
If not, then we're not wearing vests.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I want to talk, Darren, today about this podcast has got to be our normal length of a podcast, but it could be hours because this conversation is it permeates my Monday through Friday talking to our members at Better Every Day. And it revolves around the evolution of staffing inside of our firms. And I thought I'd start by asking you if you remember, I'm not going to put a date on it, circa when you were in the heart of running your business, your accounting business. What was it like to hire somebody new?
We were always known as a really good place to work.
Yeah.
It was definitely a different time. And, whether it was 15 years or 20 years ago in the heart, it was a different time.
Yeah.
But hiring never seemed to be a problem.
Yeah.
We sort of kept expectations, I never expected more from my team than I did from myself. And so I didn't really want to work all the weekends and nights and stuff because I had other things going on. So we were always known as a little bit different from an accounting firm perspective, place to work. But I missed it a number of times. I didn't get the right person for various reasons, whether it was productivity or personality or whatever. So I would say I was normally sort of like fishing with blinders on or something, if that's the right terminology. But I was not great at it. Yeah. But, ultimately, I was fantastic at it when I look at RootWorks and the team that we created. Yeah. I figured it out over time, but I would say early, mid accounting firm, I didn't have it all figured out.
So what do you think you figured out? What was the difference between the accounting firm and then the RootWorks?
I think it was the passion that I had for what we were doing at RootWorks.
Yeah.
And hiring, creative people and, marketing teams and sales teams and all the different aspects of the business. Yeah. Versus, trying to find a bookkeeper or a staff accountant. Yeah. That wasn't necessarily where my passions lied. Nor had I figured out what I really wanted the company to be. At that point in time, it was providing revenue. You know what I mean? It was an income stream.
Utilitarian.
Yeah, it was. And at RootWorks, we were trying to create something that was world-class. And so I wanted world-class people.
Yeah. I think back on, of course, I was part of the RootWorks team. Yeah. I think back on most of the people that you built that team around were people that were in your sphere of either influence or friendship or relationships locally. Yeah. Somehow you knew them. And I think one of the things that's changed drastically, and it's honestly, it's a moment of, I was going to use the word panic, and I think it's the right word for some people in small business right now, is that they don't know anybody that wants to work for them anymore. And they have to go out. So if your sphere of influence is this tiny circle around you of the people that you know, there's a smaller circle inside of that is the people that you know that would be good employees that would want to work for you. And then that circle seems to be getting almost non-existent for people. And if you have to step out another ring in this diagram, you are including people. And especially in small businesses, this is your life. This is your entrepreneurial outlet, and you are going to have to share it with somebody that you don't have any connection to all of a sudden. Yeah, and it's causing, because what remote work has allowed us to do, because of what I think AI, and we'll talk about that in a minute, the impact that we think that might have. But we are in a time where hiring is changing drastically.
Well, I mean, it's certainly I would say the number one topic that comes up with firms.
It is.
And I suspect if I go talk to my favorite restaurant, it's their
Same
number
problem.
one topic,
Yep.
and everywhere else. And why that is perplexing to me.
Yeah.
Because as a nation, we continue to grow.
Yeah.
So there's not fewer people. Maybe there's more businesses, but it's perplexing as to why we're having a harder and harder time attracting the right people, especially in the tax and accounting space.
Yeah.
Because that's where we're focused a lot.
I think I have a hunch. I have a hypothesis as to why it's harder than ever. And actually part of it comes from a conversation I had with Fletcher Wimbush, a friend of mine who does headhunting for accounting firms, that one of the things that is rising faster than it ever has in American history is solo entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. So it is easier than ever for me, if I'm a smart business person, if I'm a great bookkeeper, it's easier than ever for me to go out and start my own little solo entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
There was a time where that wasn't even considered as an option.
I remember when Intuit was talking about this like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh no, everybody's going to be these micro businesses where they've just gone off. And I'm like, are you crazy?
And here we are.
I know.
So
then Uber came around.
And Uber changed it.
Uberization, I guess, is what we were calling it.
Yeah, the Uberization of small business.
Yeah.
Where, my brother works for Uber, and his
Well,
life.
he also delivers cookies.
He delivers. That's another story. He does whatever he needs to do to pay the bills for this
that was
week.
Funny.
Yeah. But he, the thing about his job is, why would he go work and drive for somebody who wants him to be there at a certain time? He loves to fish. He likes his freedom. He makes the same money.
So many things go back to the freedom word, John.
They do.
And I think about it for myself. Man, it would be really hard to give up the freedom
right
that I have today versus, when I was running the firm.
So here's what I'm suggesting. And I wanted to get your thoughts about this today, and I'm hoping to start a dialogue with our members about this as well. Do we need to rethink the amount of freedom and the way we think of freedom inside of our businesses when it comes to our staff so that we become more attractive as a lifestyle job instead of the 9-to-5 grind, and we begin to be competitive?
You're talking about the tax and accounting space.
I'm talking about the tax and accounting space, but anybody who is in a small business right now, 5 to 15
because you think
employees.
about the restaurant, it's a little hard to create the life.
Restaurant, you got to be there.
You got to
9 to
show
5.
up. Right?
But any service, based business that doesn't have clients face to face on a regular basis is dealing with this same issue. I would say that even restaurants. I've got a friend who works at a restaurant in town, and he wants to travel. He's a college age student. All he wants to do is travel. Yeah. He's a great server. They want him to work 40 hours a week. This reminds me of Dumb and Dumber. There's nothing out there unless you want to work 40 hours a week. When I talk to him, it just makes me laugh. He's like, they want me to work 40 hours a week. I'm like, well, dude, this is why you went to college. It's time to work. And his feeling is, no, I would rather make 25 hours a week money, live in a van down by the river, and travel around the country and the world. And so the question is,
I don't blame him at all.
I don't
for
either.
That.
I don't either. So. But the business owner says, no, you either take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And now you've got a hiring problem. Well, what is the hiring problem? Is that you won't evolve with the needs of your next employee. And I think that's the conversation we have to have is, what is the next evolution of hiring and the business model driving that hiring?
I think what's interesting right now, John, is that everybody's talking about the capacity problem. There's everybody in our space.
In accounting. And
there's more work than you can get done.
Yeah.
So they have a capacity issue. We're either going to solve that through AI making us more efficient at some point, and that's possible.
Yeah.
And it's probably a blend of all these. But it's either solved by us getting more efficient or AI taking all the work away, and we don't need to be efficient, right? Or we solve it by developing a team that can help us, and it's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And maybe the people that join the team that can leverage some of the AI that is available allows us to have a bigger pool of people to draw from. So maybe more of those friends that we talked about, because maybe right now we're looking at those friends as being the people who are bookkeepers or accountants. Maybe it's a bigger pool.
Yeah.
But I mean, AI we can go buy. We can increase capacity by buying it that way. But it seems like if it's human beings, we've got to change the calculus somehow. And I love the lifestyle component of that, as you know.
Yeah, I think it means more than just semantics. I think it means not just how we talk about ourselves and not just how we sell ourselves on our websites, but how we actually run the business has to change.
Yeah.
And I think if we're going to attract the next great talent, we have to be open. And I just talked to one of our members, Mary, who you know well, has been a friend for a really long time. And the title of her request to meet with me was, "I'm scared to death to hire." Because, she's a family-based business and she has got more work than she can possibly have. She's turning away work like crazy. She knows she has to hire, but bringing somebody into her firm, it's a very small business, who might be living in a different state, she may not ever see them, is a scary prospect.
Yeah.
And it comes with some risk.
I think of, other people that I know that listen to our podcast, whether they're in the financial services world or just other small business world. I mean, to me, we're all dealing with this.
Yeah.
And, how we all sort of solve for this can't be what we used to do.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, doing the same thing and hoping this just gets better. There's people like Mary, and, I talk to lots of people like Jacob, and everybody's thinking about the same thing. I need to increase my capacity. And so that's a thing. I need to increase capacity.
Yeah.
Now, how you solve for that may be a blend of things.
Yeah.
It may be a blend of, hey, you start leveraging some technologies that help you solve for that capacity issue. Very valid, and I think we're imminently on that for just about every industry.
Yeah, I think that's true.
But the other one is if you can leverage some of that technology to make everyone smarter, right? Because the old days, I'm just taking tax and accounting for a moment. The old days, you might have needed a really experienced tax person who could come up with those ideas for that particular client. And those very experienced tax people are harder to find.
Yeah.
Right? They're like needles in haystacks. But if you can take, I'm just going to use an example, somebody that's been a solid banking person or any kind of financial service person, or at least has a customer service bent to them.
Yeah.
Right? I think Arisha, your wife, somebody has a customer-centric first bent to them. If they can start leveraging some AI tools to make them smarter to help their ideal customers, all of a sudden that opens up the pool of people, right?
It does. And it allows firms to do what I thought you might say it when I asked you what the difference between RootWorks and the firm was when you went to hiring. I think the big difference was, as the owner of RootWorks, you had a different responsibility as well. And it gave you the time and energy to look at humans. I mean, you met me when at a wedding. I was officiating a wedding. If you needed somebody for your firm, for your company, and you went out to find me, you would have never found me.
Right.
If you weren't open to the relationship driven and a bigger way of thinking about. And I think right now when I talk to our firm owners, they are going about it the way you went about it 30 years ago.
Well, I mean, your head's down.
Yeah.
You're busy because you have a capacity problem. You're as busy as you can be. And so hiring in some respects is just a necessary evil. Where I would say with RootWorks, a few things. One, I was not, like in the weeds of production.
Your head was up.
After I had, was running RootWorks full time. But the other thing was, we talked about that, your circle of people.
Yeah.
my circle of people by then had gotten a lot larger because, I was giving speeches around the country and, writing books, and people knew who I was. And all of a sudden, the number of people that I knew was a lot larger and could attract. So some of this is about attracting, in your local community, you can be involved in lots of different things, whether it's the chamber or your church or wherever it is, and your pool of people is larger than if you're not doing those things. So maybe some of it's just expanding, your pool.
That was Fletcher's advice to our members.
Interesting.
Was that he said, no matter how you feel about LinkedIn, the number one thing you can do today is spend 15 minutes every week, the first of your week.
Increasing your pool of
increasing your connections. Just go out and make connections for 15 minutes. And I think that's a way to increase that circle.
So funny story. I don't know if Ted's going to listen to this, but you know who Ted is,
I
right?
do, yeah.
So I've got this buddy in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Okay.
And I don't know, he calls me pretty much every day. He knows I walk in the morning, and he owns a 100-year-old men's clothing store, which I love.
Yeah.
And I think they have women's and some accessories and things as well. And then he likes to dabble and sell watches, so I buy watches from him. Anyway, Ted calls me about every day, and if not, there's something wrong.
Right.
But I had never met him. Never physically met him.
Wow.
And a few weeks ago, he was in town for a clothing event with all the group that he buys with. And so I picked him up at his hotel, and he came over to the house. Long story short, I felt like I had known him for a few years. So I
was it weird seeing him for the first time a little bit?
I was a little nervous about that, but just for a second,
like a blind date.
He's like almost 70. He's 70 years old.
Yeah.
Hugs me and is like, he's exactly what I thought he would be. I'd FaceTimed and some things, but my whole point of that story is you can build these relationships with people, that are more virtual.
But you have to pull your head up. You have to keep your head up and increasing that circle in your life. We mentioned AI a little bit and the impact of this. My whole motto of my life, I feel like it's going to be on my tombstone someday, is that people matter most. It's what it's what's driven my whole career and my life, the book I wrote, all of that. And I really, when it comes to AI and the way that we think about AI impacting humans, I have kept saying, people matter most. They still matter most. The future is human, all of those things. And I do still believe all of that. But with bringing TJ onto the Better Everyday team and spending more and more time with TJ, I'm also realizing, and he's helping me see the practical side of that, AI is going to be a real force. And it is going to take tasks away. Whether it takes jobs away, we don't know yet. It is going to take tasks away from the everyday work that people are doing inside of your firm right now. And so the question is, when you go hire, what are you hiring? Are you hiring tasks, which is what we used to do? Do you have a CPA? Can you do bookkeeping? Can you run a payroll? Am I hiring tasks? Or am I hiring a human that I believe can employ those tools? And when you do that, you end up hiring people you like, which is one of the things I think works so well about RootWorks. Yeah. You hired people that you resonated with and that you liked, and it allowed us to move forward. I had no skill sets for accounting. TJ, who you hired, had some, but not that much. You have this long group of people who you hired the person first and built the business. And I think that is the optimistic side of this conversation, is that we need to continue to refine how we hire in terms of hiring the person, the personality, their ability to be able to represent our companies well to our best customers, and then they can employ the tools that we're asking them to.
I couldn't agree with you more, John. I think today, if I were building my accounting firm today, I would find people who had great communication skills, who were smart, and that were willing to adapt.
Not scared of technology.
Not afraid, and ready to grow and create something. Again, we use the word world class, something that's just awesome.
Yeah.
And then I let the tools and time make them smarter.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's where we're at this point. I use ChatGPT a lot.
Yeah.
During the day just to get smarter for myself. I'm thinking about doing a 1031 land exchange, and it's been 20 plus years since I did a 1031 exchange, and so I just go to ChatGPT and it makes me smarter.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the wave for accounting firm of the future.
Yeah.
Is to find great people that can communicate, build relationships, and let the tools that can do the tasks, but also make you smarter in the things that you do.
One of the things I'm going to share with our members at our retreat coming up is a prompt that I've been working on for ChatGPT that works backwards, and it says, "Here's the kind of human being I would like to hire." First of all, and it's like a 2-page prompt right now, and it starts with, "Please first challenge my hiring concepts from the past. What should I be thinking about that I may not have in the past? And then help me create a profile for the kind of staff member that I want. And then help me target LinkedIn for that person." And the prompt will start a conversation with you about the kind of human you want to hire and help you look for them in LinkedIn and around you, and kind of bring your head up to see the world a little differently instead of just skill sets. And I think there's an example of something really practical you can do to leverage AI to help you find what you're looking for and think outside the box.
You mentioned our barn retreats coming up, and they are coming up quickly.
Yeah.
But they're packed,
Yeah, it's going to be wall to wall.
Like more and more people are like, I want to come. Yeah, I want to come. And as you know, I've spent the last 2.5 months renovating the barn. So you were,
it's beautiful.
You and TJ and Andy were.
It was already beautiful. Now it's beautiful 2.0.
It feels really, really good. So I'm super excited to get people there, and I think it's a lot of fun.
There was a time when we were talking about these barn retreats a couple of years ago where I thought, is this going away? And I think it's fascinating.
I think it's going to become a thing.
I think it already has. I mean, we're packing people they're not even asking us about the agenda before they're registering. Like they just want to be together.
Yeah. And learn together. And we have a fully enabled AI agenda. It'll be a lot of fun talking about the things we're talking about today and how AI is going to impact. But more than that, we have a fantastic bartender who's going to tend the bourbon bar.
He was there last year, and he is awesome.
Logan was
He's worth the show.
Yes. So people huddled around, my bourbon bar in the basement, and then we have wine tasting upstairs. So it's a great time.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing, and I do think it's an example of people craving face-to-face. They're craving community still, but also this is a group of people who have their heads up. They're looking for challenges. They're looking for ways to rethink how they're hiring, how they're working, how their business models are running. And I think that's probably the biggest takeaway from this conversation is if you're looking to hire the way you've always hired, you're going to be working uphill. If you're looking to hire and what you want is to keep your door closed and your head down as a technician, and go find someone who's going to be just like you and keep their door closed as a technician and run autonomously, you're going to be disappointed.
It feels like such an old model now as I think back on it.
It just doesn't work that way. It really just doesn't work that way, especially for most small businesses that we work with, most accounting firms who are really wanting to grow and think differently about the way they serve their customers. So I think we've got to keep paying attention. I want to keep having this discussion. I think the podcast is a great format to keep. When we see trends like this happening, I think we have to address, especially when it comes to AI, we have to be able to talk about this with reality. TJ happens to be a good friend of mine, and so he was very nice, but also very direct when he was like, dude, you got to stop saying that, people are going to still be driving you're the work in your accounting firm. The people still matter most, but AI is going to do more and more and more, and the work is going to be done by AI. What does that mean for elevating the humans? And I think we have to keep asking that question.
Yeah, I agree.
It's good stuff. Well, thanks for listening today. Hope you heard something that moves you forward. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day.